Have you ever heard of Reflx Lab? Neither did I until Instant Charlie from my Discord brought it to my attention. If you're at all like me and you need things explained to you in memes, here you go.
Mom, can we get Cinestill 400D?
We have Cinestill 400D at home.
The Cinestill 400D at home.
Reflx Lab is a Chinese film company who apparently specialize in making fake Cinestill products. Okay, maybe knockoff. Impersonation. I don't know how to say this nicely. Cinestill inspired films.
Faker!
And since the Cinestill crowdfunding campaign I backed in April still hadn't delivered, well, it's September now. My little poopy brain was like, beep, boop, bop, Reflx Lab 400D. That's the silver medal. Let's check it out together. But before I show you the good, the bad, and the tones, Reflx Lab 400D.
What the hell is even that?
According to their website, it's made from fresh Kodak 5207 Vision 3 250D motion picture film. And of course, the remjet layer has been removed, giving us those tasty halations. But what is this halation you speak of, Lou? Keeping things relatively simple here, halations are those beautiful reddish-orange halo-like hot spots you typically see around bright light sources on film. Halations are far more pronounced when the remjet layer is removed from the film. If a strong light source passes through the film, it bounces off the back of the camera and reflects back onto the film, creating halations. P.S. If you can't already tell, I'm gonna say the word halations quite a few times in this video, so I take no responsibility if you turn that into a drinking game and then die. The film is daylight balanced with ISO 400 and ready to process in C41 chemistry. But most importantly, is it ready to aid us on our unending quest for the tones? Let's find out. I started off shooting a few photos from the backseat of my friend's car, and I gotta say, we are off to an awesome start. The tones goblin is satisfied. Sorry, that was a little weird. Reflx Lab did warn about the potential for light leaks on the first few shots, and fact check true. There it is, there's the light leak. But I really love the vibe of these first two shots. Maybe we're not getting tones, maybe we're getting some vibes here. I think the thing that surprised me the most was just how susceptible the film is to halations. It feels like you shoot towards the sun at the right angle and like the entire photo is halations, which, you know, I'm a guy who really likes halations, but I imagine some of you might think this might be a little bit extra. Some of you are probably looking at it going like, for those of you wondering, I loaded up an unsuspecting camera for this video, the Olympus XA. Sorry I haven't mailed this back to you yet, Brian. I will soon, I promise. If you follow the channel, you know I'm not a huge fan of the XA, but my friends and I were going to Irving Plaza to see The Devil Wears Prada, so I needed a small camera for the occasion. I didn't really shoot too much here because I was messing around with a different film and a different camera for a different video, so you are just gonna have to wait for that video. The real star of the show here wasn't Reflx Labs though, it was of course Devil. They played both of their zombie EPs along with a mixture of their classics. Let me just say, they knocked my socks off. There's a reason they've been one of my favorite bands since high school. Speaking of knocking, someone knocked into me while I was taking this photo, so that kinda sucked. The next time I went out to shoot more of this roll, I was actually back home in the Bronx. That day was off to a truly great start because I accidentally fired a shot as I was taking the camera out of my pocket, which was something I brought up in the XA review. The shutter is just so sensitive. I decided to take a walk through Ferry Point Park. Keep in mind, at this point I hadn't seen any of the photos, so I was looking for things that would give me halations, because I knew that was kind of one of the features of the film. I thought the reflections on the water would be a good choice, and wow, it got halated. Can we use that as a verb? We can now. I really dig the saturation and the contrast of this film. The greens and blues really seem to pop in the absence of halations. When you do find those direct light sources though, the halations definitely warm up the whole photo. Here's a quick side-by-side for your reference. The next time I went out to shoot, I was in Westchester and I found this scene here. This is one of those classic I walk by this all the time locations, but the light was hitting those air ducts, just right. I'm now dubbing them the holy air ducts. I took a walk around some blocks that I don't often pass, and I found this weird little break area. I thought it was kind of cool. I also found this playground, which I mainly shot to remind myself to come back here at night. This could definitely be a creepy, foggy Halloween shot. Finally, I finished up the roll back in Connecticut. I went for a walk in search of bright lights for more halations, and I was not disappointed. This pool of light by the post office really caught my eye. I also came across this house, which was just being gingerly caressed by that good light. I was really surprised by how intense these halations were, but I liked how it came out. It has some American football energy. As the sun moved slightly lower in the sky, some of the shots went absolutely wild with the halations. As previously mentioned, I'm a big fan of halations, but these were a bit much even for me. The fire truck looks absolutely ethereal. I really love the look of this bench here. Again, this is another one of those spots I pass all the time. It makes me think of that Streetlight Manifesto album cover, but my rendition of it here is completely dwarfed by halations. I finished the last few shots with this art installation. It was shiny, so obviously you know where my head was for these shots. I haven't seen this film or Reflx Lab in general discussed too much on YouTube. Some interesting things I noticed. It seems to run a little bit hot. I did set it for the box speed of ISO 400, but all my shots came out just a little bit overexposed. Viewer discretion is advised. This might upset some people. The canisters were difficult to open with a can opener for some reason, so I had to do some truly unspeakable things to them in my dark bed. I enjoyed shooting on Reflx Lab 400D and will definitely shoot more of it in the future, but I'll be keeping in mind how extreme the halations are. It's not an everyday film, but it's certainly cool. But how does Reflx Lab 400D stack up against Cinestill 400D, especially considering Cinestill claims their 400D is not repackaged motion picture film, which I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily have a reason to doubt them on that claim, but still, both of the films seem to be attempting to get the same look and do the same thing, and they're the same ISO, and they both have these nuts. Well, the good news for you, my precious little eggies, is that Cinestill finally decided to ship mine, so you better believe there will be an upcoming film fight, 400D versus 400D. Until then, Pookies, bye.
Like and subscribe. Sweet Loop Photography. Dumb man.